Hello and welcome to my book club. My name is Miss Glumm and I am the happy teacher. Why am I the happy teacher? Because my name is Miss Glumm and Glumm means sad. So anyways, I decided I would be the happy teacher. Today for book club, we're going to start our first lesson. It is chapter 1 of Stuart Little. The lesson is about 30 to 40 minutes. I have a 6-minute video of me describing the day, our lesson, the whole group activity. We have an independent reading of 5 minutes, an introduction video to what independent work you'll be doing, an instructional video, and then you will be doing independent work for 10 minutes. For those of you in a classroom, you can share your answers. That'll take about 5 to 10 minutes. For those of you who are doing this virtual, hopefully you will do a Google Doc and send that to my classroom, Miss Glumm's book club. I can't wait to hear your stories. All right, one of the major themes that we have going on in Stuart Little is about friendship, adventure, family, and companionship. Our learning intention is to participate in this book study and to write a paragraph. You will be successful when you can answer text-based questions about the book, Stuart Little, and write a summary paragraph. I also want you to describe a problem you may have had and how you found a solution. The big question today is, what does friendship mean to you? And friendship to me means to be around a friend who I really enjoy being with, who makes me laugh, who cares about me. We can just hang around each other and it's comfortable. I also don't mind if they think that I'm funny. Anyways, a friend is someone who I feel like I just want to spend a lot of time with and they enjoy my company too. So think of that when we're reading the story. I'm going to start now by reading the story Stuart Little. It's about a mouse. He is a part of a family, a human family. Somehow they have a mouse. Remember, it's just make-believe. Here's his family. Mom, Dad, and brother George. And there's Stuart on the table. They're just looking at him. They do love him. So I'm going to begin chapter 1. Stuart Little, the chapter is titled In the Drain. When Mrs. Frederick C. Little's second son arrived, everybody noticed that he was not much bigger than a mouse. The truth of the matter was the baby looked very much like a mouse in every way. He was only about 2 inches high, and he had a mouse's sharp nose, a mouse's tail, a mouse's whiskers, and the pleasant shy manner of a mouse. Before he was many days old, he was not only looking like a mouse, but acting like one too, wearing a gray hat and carrying a small cane. I didn't know mouses did that, but anyways. Mr. and Mrs. Little named him Stuart, and Mr. Little made him a tiny bed out of 4 clothespins and a cigarette box. No smoking. Anyways, unlike most babies, Stuart could walk as soon as he was born. When he was a week old, he could climb lamps by shimmying up the cord. Mrs. Little saw right away that the infant clothes she had provided were unsuitable, and she set to work to make him a fine little blue suit with a patch on the pockets and which he could keep his handkerchief, his money, and his keys. And a handkerchief is kind of like an old Kleenex. That back in the olden days, like a big cloth bandana that people used to blow their nose on or whatnot and back in their pocket. Anyways, handkerchief, kind of an interesting word. Every morning before Stuart dressed, Mrs. Little went into his room and weighed him on a small scale, which was really meant for weighing letters. At birth, Stuart could have been sent by first-class mail for 3 cents, but his parents preferred to keep him rather than send him away. And when at the age of a month, he had gained only 1/3 of an ounce, his mother was so worried, she sent for the doctor. The doctor was delighted with Stuart and said that it was very unusual for an American family to have a mouse. He took Stuart's temperature and found that it was 98.6, which is normal for a mouse. He also examined Stuart's chest and heart and looked into his ears solemnly with a flashlight. Not every doctor can look into a mouse's ear without laughing. I've never done that. Everything seemed to be all right, and Mrs. Little was pleased to get such a good report. Feed him up, said the doctor cheerfully, and he left. The home of the Little family was a pleasant place near a park in New York City. In the mornings, the sun streamed in through the east windows, and all of the Littles were up early as a general rule. And here's some pictures. So I'm going to have you read the next page, and it's pages 4, 5, and 6. That's the end of chapter 1. That's your independent reading time. So if you are virtual, it will just be paused for you, but if you are in a classroom, maybe your teacher can pause it, or you can, so you can read at your pace. I'll move myself up here so you can see, whoops, the picture. Alrighty, there you go. Go ahead and read. Take about 5 minutes to read the rest of this chapter. And of course, you can pause that for longer in the video if you need more time. I just wanted to give you an example. So good job. If you are finished reading chapter 1, again, you can pause the video and hopefully be able to see those pages to read. But now it is time to write your paragraph. This is an outline or draft for your paragraph. This gives you some ideas. Now think of a time you helped someone out. Your opening question should be, what was the problem? You're going to describe for me what the problem was that you solved. The setting, tell me who and where you were with when you helped solve the problem. You're going to add those details. You're going to add those steps and how you helped solve the problem. And then for your conclusion, you're going to restate the problem and the solution. I'm going to give you an example. One bright sunny day in July, I was at home and I was just at my kitchen table filling out some forms when I heard some shouting in the backyard. Now my son had been over earlier because he was helping out in the lawn. I heard this loud yelling and screaming and I didn't know what it was, but I figured it was my son. So I went out on this bright, sunny, wonderful July day, and I saw that he was trying to start the lawnmower, but he could not get it started. That was a big problem because he wanted to mow the lawn, and he was getting very, very aggravated. He kept pulling up on the string that starts the lawnmower, if you know anything about lawnmowers, and it just wouldn't go. So I looked at him and we kind of problem solved. We looked to see if there was gas. You do need some gas in the gas-powered mowers. And we did. We had plenty of gas and oil. So we decided it must be the starter. So I pulled the string up, and what I noticed was he wasn't holding down the handle that holds the handle of the lawnmower. You have to squeeze it. There's a little handle you squeeze, and then you pull up. And he wasn't holding that down. And if you don't hold that down, the lawnmower won't start. And if you let go of it while you're mowing, the lawnmower will stop. It's a safety feature. So I showed him how to hold the handle down and pull back to start the lawnmower, and he did. So number one, I went out there to see what was going on. Number two, it was my son who was pulling very hard on the string to start the lawnmower, but it just wouldn't go. Number three, we checked for gas, we checked for oil, and we problem solved. Four, we determined it was that handle that needed to be squeezed. So once that was done, he got the lawnmower started. Once that lawnmower was started, he was able to mow the whole lawn, thankfully, without any more screaming and yelling. Well, maybe a little bit more screaming and yelling, but anyways, that's besides the point. All right, I would like to hear a time that you were able to help someone solve a problem. I'm sure you help many people all the time, your friends, your family, your pets. Anytime there's a problem and you can help, I'd like to hear about it. So you will send me a Google Doc to my classroom, Miss Glumm's Book Club. For those of you who are in my class, for those of you who are in a different class, then listen to your teacher. I'm sure she'll send you directions. Your extension activity is to unscramble these words from the first chapter of Stuart Little. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I've given you, there's only 5. I've given you a word bank too. You're not quite done yet. It should take you about 15 minutes. Here are some questions about chapter 1. Write a brief summary. Doesn't have to be long, couple sentences. What was the problem Mrs. Stewart had and how was it solved? What does the word solemnly mean? What is the history of the handkerchief? I told you what I knew of a handkerchief, but I'm wondering if you can tell me anything more about the history of the handkerchief. And lastly, how would you like to have a mouse for a brother? So answer those questions and send them to me or your teacher. I have so enjoyed having our first lesson, our first book club. And I will look forward to seeing more of you and seeing your work so that we can share it out. All right, take care. Bye-bye.